Hey everyone, my name is Laura, and today I'm going to be telling you how to play cribbage. Cribbage is a great way to pass the time and exercise your mathematical brain. You build the optimal hand from what was dealt, while trying to minimize the score of other players, and you also fight the other players for points. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's talk more about the actual game. To play cribbage, you need a deck of cards and a tool to keep score. Often people use a cribbage board, but a pen and paper, or in this case, dice, work just fine. The object of the game is to score 121 points, and you score points by making runs, pairs, or sets of cards whose value adds up to 15. For example, 6 and 9, or 4, 5, and 6, which also happens to be a run. Runs are worth 1 point for every card in the run, with a minimum of 3, so 4, 5, 6 would net you 3 points for the run. Pairs are worth 2, so 3 of a kind is worth 6, 4 of a kind is worth 12, or 2 points for each unique pair. And sets of 15 are also worth 2 points. In this game, aces count as 1, and all face cards count as 10. For example, queen and 5, king and 5, jack and 5 are all 15. However, ace 4 is only 15 when accompanied by one of the cards 10 through king. There are 5 phases to cribbage: shuffle and deal, discard, pegging points, splitting the deck, scoring, and then a sub-phase, scoring the kitty. This game can be played with 2 to 4 players, and with 2 players, each person is dealt 6 cards. With 3 and 4 players, each person gets 5 cards. When playing with 3 players, a random card from the top of the deck is dealt face down into the kitty. Players then discard until they have only 4 cards in hand, selecting the optimal maximum number of points that can be earned from a combination of 4 cards in their hand. The discarded cards then go into the kitty face down. Starting with the player to the left of the dealer, each person places a card from their hand face up, stating the cumulative total of the round. So, for example, if I place a 5, I would say 5. If the next player places a 10, they would say 15. Now, while placing their cards down, players can score for pairs, runs, and 15s if the cumulative total is exactly 15. In the example that I gave you before, the player who played after me would get 2 points for playing a 10 to my 5. However, if the next player then played a 5, they would not get 15 because the cumulative score would be 20. Now, the maximum total of the cumulative score is 31. If a player reaches exactly 31, he or she scores 2 points. However, if a player cannot add to the total without exceeding 31, they will say go, and the next player may add to the total. If the total never ends up reaching 31, the last player to add to it gains 1 point. When all players have laid their cards, the last person to play a card gets 1 point, or 2 if they reach 31, and play proceeds to the next phase. The player to the right of the dealer splits the deck, and the dealer places the card that was revealed on top of the deck face up. All players may use this card in their scoring. Starting with the player to the left of the dealer, each person states their score based on the cards in their hand and the one on top of the deck. And then the dealer scores the kitty as an additional hand. After scoring, the role of dealer is passed to the person to the left of the person who dealt the previous round, and play proceeds again. So that's the basics of cribbage. Now, one thing that I didn't mention when originally talking through the scoring was something called knobs. With knobs, you can get additional points based on jacks. For example, if you have a jack in your hand, and its suit matches the card that was revealed during the splitting the deck phase, then you would gain 1 point. If a jack is revealed as the card in the splitting the deck phase, then the dealer would get 2 points. There's a variation of the game that you can try where you can steal the points of other players. If a person states their point total, but you see other points that she missed, you would then be able to steal those points from her. Now, when it comes to strategy in this game, when you're playing with two people, it can sometimes be advantageous to bury points in the kitty. For example, you can place a pair or two cards that sum to 15. This guarantees at least some of the points in the extra hand. Now, when scoring, if you get a 0, if there are no points scored at all, we call that a 19. 19 is an impossible score in cribbage, so it's a little bit of a fun joke. You can drop that the next time you're playing with your friends to show them how awesome you are at cribbage. Well, that's about it for cribbage. You deal, discard, peg, split the deck, and score. That's all for this video. See you next time.